Pendulum Inc., welcome to another legendary guest class at our School for Lyricism. Today we have a West Coast legend in the building, one of the forefathers of West Coast lyricism and hip hop. Talking about a guy that's been here probably 40 plus years and has been doing it at a high level for an extreme long time. I want to give a big shout out to Jeff Sledge, someone who signed us both, and at least I don't know if he signed you, but he definitely A&R'd some of your work.
Yeah.
And he put this thing together, so I want to give a big shout out to Jeff Sledge. Were we both on the same label at the same time, Jeff? Were we both on Jive?
No, I think Short might have been gone by that point.
I,
Yeah,
my shit ended January 2008.
yeah. You
Yeah.
were you were gone by that point because Mickey signed in 2009.
Right.
Year apart.
Yeah, just a year apart,
Yeah, part. Yeah. Barry signed Short. Barry White signed Short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peace to him.
Right. So shout out to Barry Weiss. And I just want to make sure that everyone who here understands that, this is a legend. And if your cameras is on, please throw your L's up for the one and only legendary Professor Too Short. And this class will be ran by our Professor Jeff Walker, because he knows the most about Too Short. Take it away, brother.
After that intro, I'm going to have my own intro. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff Walker. I created Rhymecology. Rhymecology helps people break through blockages and barriers by writing better rhymes. I do the hip hop therapy in this class. But before that, I was a kid in the Bay Area, growing up on some cassette tapes right here.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna do my intro, and then I'm gonna run through a bunch of questions because that's what I've been assigned to do, and I'm very excited to do it. When you talk about legends, there's a lot of things that go into that conversation. Influence, groundbreaking styles, pioneering, catalog, and longevity are all important things, and all things that this man holds. The coolest motherfucker in my middle school and high school years for all of us to listen to, the man who was born to Mac, the man who taught us life is too short, the man who had us comparing and checking lists on Freaky Tales, if you know what I mean. And now I'm happy to be calling him out because Short Dog's in the house. Welcome to Short.
What's up? What's up?
All right. So, as the maybe the only Bay Area kid here, now in LA, but grew up then. I'm going to run through some questions and talk a little bit about the influence things I saw and how it relates to us as MCs at Pendulum Inc. So Pendulum is the school of MCs. And some have been around, a lot have had success. And I know how you started your hustle, but I want you to tell the group here, how did you get your start back in the early 80s?
Well, I the first time I ever heard hip hop, you know, there had been music out, some Parliament Funkadelic. Everybody goes back to the Fatback song. I think it was King Tim the Third. There was songs where, even like Lost Poets type of stuff. People were Gil Scott Heron. People were being poetic, talking on songs without being rhythmic. But Rapper's Delight was the first time on the West Coast that I heard hip hop. That was the first song I heard. I know New York has a history way before that, a very rich history, but that's the first thing we heard. Rapper's Delight came on the radio, played in all the clubs. I think I was in ninth grade when it came out. That was 1979. A year later, it was like the next summer 1980. I just listened to some, lot more rap records started coming out, Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. And I was like, man, I can do this. And I tried it. I wrote a little rhyme. It was a little sing-songy rhyme about being at a party or something, just mimicking what I heard from other rappers. And people liked it. And I just, I had that one rhyme from like 1980 to about 1981. I had one rhyme. And one day, somebody just said, I'm tired of hearing your fucking rap. and it just woke me up and I was like, let me go make another song. So I made another song and I never stopped making songs. So from 1981 on, I've been dead ass serious at this shit.
And so, the piece that I want to kind of like put into that story is the trunk, the
So
trunk with the trunk with the tapes.
so after I get my movement, I'm doing this now. Now I got two songs I can play for you, and it got me into this thing where let me make another song, make another song. So it's just like a novelty, man. I used to be the kid with the boombox radio with the 8D batteries, and I just walk around. The radio was almost half the size of me. Like you walk 5 steps, you got to change hands. You got to keep changing hands. Big ass, loud ass radio, and the batteries die. You got to buy 8 more fucking batteries. That's just what it was, kind of like Radio Raheem and Do the Right Thing. And um, one day I was at school and a big ruckus started about you're not the only rapper. I was literally anywhere I would go in 1981 in Oakland, California. I was the only rapper you'd find anywhere in the Bay. Like there were sightings of there's a rapper over in this city, but I was pretty much the only one that was letting everybody know what it was. And they came to me in school one day and said, "You're not the only rapper. We got a homeboy, Freddie B. He rap way better than you, and talking shit." So all of our homeboys set up a battle for lunchtime because the movies were coming out, hip hop battles. We knew what it was. It was coming from the five boroughs. It was the four elements of hip hop, and it was spreading like wildfires around the West Coast. So they're like, yeah, battle rap at lunchtime. And we got at lunch and went back and forth a little bit. And they were all gambling and betting money on who would win. So while they were arguing about who won, we kind of started talking to each other. And he was like, "Man, you should come by my house and let's make some music together." So I go by his house and I immediately see that what he's recording on is very, you know, I don't want to say low budget, but it wasn't the stuff that you would need to do a quality recording. He had a microphone, and when you plug it in, the microphone takes over that channel. So your voice is on the right channel and the music's on the left. And when you play it back, that's exactly how it plays back. And I was like, "Yo, you should come by my house." And I had a mixer and turntables and an effects machine that I ran my mic through. And we made a tape at my house, a cassette tape, record straight from the mixer into the cassette. And we play it back. And he's like, "We should sell this shit." And I'm like, "Sell it? Like, where are we going to sell it?" He was like, "Shit, let's go down to the park." And we went down to the park. And the only thing at the park at this time of day was drug dealers. And he knew everybody in the streets, like a lot of people. He just knew people everywhere. Freddie, my rap partner, Freddie B, at the time, and we just walked up to a group of guys and said, "Hey, you guys want to buy a rap tape?" And everybody's like looking confused, like, "What the fuck for a rap tape? What rap tape?" And then he's like, "Man, just listen to it." So one guy got a nice little sound system in his car. He pops in the tape, and I used to make the tapes sound really good because I knew how to set the levels and everything was cool. The vocal level, the recording level. I would push the peak meters into the red a little bit so it's loud but it's not distorted on the playback. And the guy put it in. We had one tape. He put it in, played for a few minutes, and somebody went over to the car, leaned in the car, and hit eject, and said, "I'll buy it." And when he said he'll buy it, like, "How much?" $5. And somebody else said, "I want one too." We like, "Man, we only brought the one. We'll be back tomorrow." And we came back tomorrow with a handful of tapes. They were waiting for us. They're like, "Yeah, let me get one. Let me get one." Because I guess the one homie had been bumping it around in his car. So when we finished with them, they said, "Hey," we were like on maybe like the park is like on 82nd Avenue. And they were like, "Hey, the dudes over around the corner on 84th said, bring them some too." So now we walking, we like, shit, we should just go to every turf where they sell dope and see if they want to buy tapes. And we started doing that shit like a paper route. And basically, it just caught on like wildfires. Everybody was just looking for us everywhere, like searching us down, like, where are these rap dudes with the rap tapes that talk all that shit? And we were talking a lot of shit. That was the catch, was all the current shit talking lingo and current events in the streets and just whatever. And it was I think it was easy for us because nobody else is doing it. And it just It just kept going, and it never stopped, ever.
So since used to sell tapes with Freddie B, famous since 1983.
Before we sold anything out of a trunk of a car, we caught the bus and walked the neighborhoods, and it was 3 years before the car came into play.
Mm.
They always say Too Short sold tapes out the trunk. It literally was a paper bag and a fucking public transit bus.
Skyline. Yes. All right. Perfect answer. Thank you. I wanted. Do you remember what like those tapes that you were giving them around the way? Were you selling those right away? Like, do you remember that? Was that the first tape that you actually sold? Because I met some lady in Hawaii last year, and she was like, "Oh, Too Short gave me a tape at the Quick Stop in like 1985 or something," and just you were handing them out. So were you selling them at that first point, or did you get the word going first? Like we're all trying to do as
Oh
MCs
no,
here.
the first day was for the first tape was for sale. It was
Mm.
never. I've seen so many rappers outside of grocery stores and the mall and stuff saying, you want to buy my tape, or you know, people just passing that stuff out trying to get popular. And no, we were a business from day one. We used to go to Radio Shack, and Radio Shack was selling 3 cassette tapes for $1.99. So our math was every $2 would make you 15. It's the early '80s. We go out, make 100, $200, split it in half, and it was always good pocket change, always good pocket change. And we used to DJ parties too. We used to DJ house parties. So hip hop pretty much was it funded my lifestyle through high school. Like I could go anywhere I want, any pair of shoes I want, jeans. I wasn't really trying to get famous. I literally was just hustling. I was like, this is a cool hustle. My friends are working at McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell. I'm like, nah, fuck that. We sell tapes. So that's what we did.
Funded you all the way to today. It's
Yeah.
amazing. A lot of our students are from the East Coast, and so I mean I know you were on that Jay Z track, Week Ago, the Biggie track, but for me growing up with you out there, I was just happy when I heard you on the Juice soundtrack.
That was
Um,
big. Yeah.
I was gonna ask you what was kind of the biggest East Coast moment you had that took you from our kind of regional area to, oh, okay, they're gonna mess with me over there. Was it Juice or was it something else?
So after I signed to Jive Records, which Jive Records caught wind of how many independent records we were selling, like back in 1987, Jive signed me in February of 1988, and we had been doing like locally, regionally, we were doing big numbers in 85, 86, 87. And then Jive caught on and said, hey, you want to sign and get a national distribution? So after I signed to Jive, they picked up an album called Born to Mac that was already out. And they did whatever they did with it, repackaged it, and put it out nationwide. And the follow-up album on my deal, I came out with Life is Too Short. So when I dropped Life is Too Short, the first single, title of the album, Life is Too Short, Life Is, the first single just radio spins, it just goes out of the atmosphere. Easy E called me and said they had just dropped, Easy had been dropping albums as a solo artist, bunch of singles. I think he dropped one album and a bunch of singles, but they had just dropped the Straight Outta Compton album when I dropped Life is Too Short. So Easy calls me and says, hey, I'm about to go on tour. You want to go on tour? I'm like, hell yeah, let's go on tour. So I get out there with Easy E on the road, and the album goes platinum just from touring and getting around. The next album goes platinum. Um, a year later, Short Dogs in the House. And I just went 6 platinum albums in a row,
Mm.
like back to
Say
back
that
to
again
back.
for the people in the back.
6 platinums in like 6 years, 7 years. And it was around 1993, 94. 93, I moved to Atlanta and I went to the Freaknik. Atlanta was the most fun shit I ever seen in my life, and I stayed. I just stayed and went and bought a house and just you know switched it up. So when I got to Atlanta, now I'm in close proximity to a lot of East Coast guys. Um, uh, Eric Sermon was there. Bobby Brown was out there. It was I'm trying to think who all was out there in the early stages. It was a few rappers. Like I started being really good friends with Eric Sermon. We used to hang at this rim shop where a lot of rappers would be freestyle battling and just trying to get on. Some were already on. The Lost Boys would stop by. A lot of people frequent there. Redman would be up there a lot. Keith Murray. Actually, I got really close with Eric Sermon and his crew. So we made a song called Buy You Some. And I didn't really know I the song was on one of my projects, but I didn't really know Eric had went up to New York and used his influence from EPMD and what he was a big guy in New York, and he went and made that record big up there. And one night he asked me to come do the song with him at the Apollo. It wasn't amateur night; it was a regular concert at the Apollo. And when I came out to do that part, now mind you, 6 platinum albums, not a lot of East Coast love. I sold all those platinum albums in the Midwest to down south and the West Coast. The numbers on the East Coast, it would be like 1 million albums sold and like 900 in all of the state of New York. Like
Call me weak
nobody,
if I don't sell records in the East.
yeah, nobody was fucking with it. But the thing was, so if you're a platinum artist and you're popular in all 4 regions of the USA, you're doing good numbers. But I was doing those numbers in only 3 regions. So when other rappers would come around to Michigan or Illinois or Mississippi and be on the same show with me, they'd be like, "Who's this motherfucker?" Because I would be like super mega popular in everywhere you go except the East Coast. So Eric Sermon opened the door for me. After Eric Sermon, I did a song with Big, and I think Jay Z came before Big. I don't even know the order. Did a song with Jay Z, did a song with Biggie, did a song with Little Kim, did a bunch of songs with major East Coast artists, and then at the time the word was Too Short. It was overhyped. It was only 6 platinums. They were like, that motherfucker got like 10 platinum albums. I really had 10 albums, but everybody just kept saying it was 10 platinum albums. And then I would start going around New York like mid 90s. And I don't think anybody really loved the music. They would like the fact that I was on a song with Jay-Z or Biggie, but they would just be like, yo, respect, son, respect, kid. And it was like that kind of thing. I remember being on an elevator in New York. I'm checking into the hotel, and the guy, he's the bellman. He's got my luggage, bringing it to my room, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you do?" I got my little jewelry on. I'm like, "I'm a rapper." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's the bellman." He's kind of checking me on the elevator. He's like, "Yeah, who you rap with?" And I'm like, "Well, I did a show last week, and Big Daddy Kane opened the show." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here! Big Daddy Kane opening up for you?" And he just like damn near cussed me the fuck out. And that was my life in New York. They just were like we don't know you, but respect, whatever. We know you. And I just, I took it like that. But after I did all those features, Foxy Brown, fuck, I can't even name them all. It was a lot of them. And then the East Coast was like, yeah, we fuck with Too Short. But I had already been making friends behind the scenes. I didn't have the fan base of the East Coast region. Like Philly wasn't fucking with it. Nowhere. Like it would get to about DC and just die off. And that was it. I actually love in Virginia, DMV. Once you get past that, I think to this day I probably only did like one show in Connecticut, and that was might have been 3 years ago. And fucking I never been to any of those East Coast cities, but globally, the shit went everywhere, man. But I think a lot of shit changed like financially for me when Jay-Z and those guys tore that barrier down, and then they were like, well, everybody fucks this guy. I started getting a lot of money, like like a lot of feature money, a lot of soundtrack money. And that was the last frontier for me, was to actually do something that New York like how could you be a rapper and you're trying to do it to your best, and New York's like, We don't fuck with you. That's like that bothers you, you know? Because that was the Mecca. That was the homeland, the motherland. But finally, we got some New York love, and you know the story now.
So I'm going to pick up this water. Okay, so I'm going to go back back a little bit because I'm trying to go a little bit chronologically. So before Atlanta, before getting where you fit in, we talked a little bit about Life Is. I'm not sure. I actually would like to know what after all these years people kind of consider your magnum opus. For us, it was always Short Dogs in the House.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of curious if that is the one, and then I want to have a couple questions on that. But is that considered like by fans or who critics whatever? Is that your magnum opus? Is that your biggest you think or
Well, it goes in like probably it's probably like a 3-part career because the first part would have been from Born to Mac, everything I did in the early days before I made Born to Mac, and then it would have been all the way until about album number 10, which is Getting It. And I said, I announced I retired,
yeah?
I'm done, and that would have been 1996. So I look at all of that as one run. It was such a fast run, fast paced, nonstop music coming out. And then I met Little John, and he took me into a whole new phase. All of my music before Little John had been put it in the trunk, a lot of bass, got woofers in your car, it sounds great. Little John turned the corner and was like, we're gonna get this shit in the clubs. Cause he was a DJ and all he made was dance music. So we started making these records that were playing in the club. And I moved to Atlanta and I got this new phase of music. So during the early days, it would have been songs like The Ghetto, songs like Freaky Tales, Life is Too Short. Get It While the Getting Is Good was probably the last of that run.
Right.
So Getting It was a big record. The Ghetto was a big record. Anywhere in there, you could say the underground records were huge. I had songs like Don't Fight the Feeling, Cuss Words. These songs were like making the albums go platinum without radio. I would only get like one single from Jive Records and we'd be fucking platinum, you know? It wouldn't even, I don't even think they promoted the records a lot. It was a strictly cult, like word of mouth type of vibe. We had some promo, but it did a lot on its own. And um the next phase with Little John is start making these little party records and shit. And that led up to records like Shake That Monkey, produced by Little John, Blow the Whistle, produced by Little John. And then now I get to Blow the Whistle, which is probably the biggest record I've ever made. And I got this 20-year career as of 2006. I'm 20 years into this shit, and it looks like that's it. But then somehow these records, Blow the Whistle, Shake That Monkey, they don't ever die. Like I'm 40 years old when I release Blow the Whistle. I'm album number 16,
Mm.
and I make my biggest record. Can you name me an artist who made their biggest record on their 16th album after making 10 platinum, 10 gold and platinum albums, and then they make their biggest record? I don't give a fuck
Nobody.
what genre you come up with. Find me an artist whose signature song came at the age of 40 after having a super successful career. Don't know.
No, none.
So that sends me into what I consider to be a legacy artist. I don't have to say legendary, but I become a legacy artist, which means I no longer need a single to book shows year round. I don't need to be the hottest guy out. I don't need to be shit in the words of like, man, who's hot and who's not. I book shows. I'm fucking uh 30 days shy of being 60 years old. I book shows every weekend for fucking 35, 40, 50,000 a pop every weekend.
Mm.
And I'm doing this shit like DJ Red Alert
Of course.
way back when in 90 something when I was like, I retire. Red Alert is like, what the fuck are you talking about retire? He was like, you ever seen a jazz musician retire? You ever seen a blues artist retire? What the fuck? This is hip hop. We not retiring. So ever since he told me that, I said I'm going to do this until it doesn't make sense anymore. And I'm 59, about to be 60 any day, and it still doesn't make sense to stop rapping. The first album I ever made, I named it "Don't Stop Rapping," and I will not stop rapping until I don't know. BB King was playing his guitar when he was 70 something years old.
Being
So I'm like, let's go.
Big Jagger, man. You know the yeah.
So I'm proud to be in the hip hop age group of trailblazers. You know, the Ice T's and, you know, the guys who, Redmans and the guys who get out there and do shows, even though they're over 50 years old and shit, and they rock the crowd. Like, I'm proud to be a part of that group who's saying, so what's the expiration date? When is 50 too old? Because remember they said 30 was too old, then they said 40 was too old, and now, you know, what are you gonna say? If a guy like me makes a hot song, can't tell me not to. You can't tell my fans not to like it. So I'm doing this shit, rocking these big ass crowds, arenas every weekend, festivals. I'm doing this shit so that somebody one day will say, one person will say to another person, "What's your old ass doing rapping?" And then the other person goes, "The fuck you talking about? E40 and Too Short rap way into their 50s, 60s, whatever the fuck." So I'm doing it for that reason, not
and
because it'll make a whole lot of money. I'm doing it. I'm gonna get the money, but I'm doing it for hip hop.
Well, and you know, in Michael Jordan's contract, he had a "for the love of the game" clause, right? So I know you do those big shows, but 10 years ago, you performed at my best friend's birthday party in the hills of LA for, you
Yeah,
know, for us, Ross Walker. Like you came and you did a show for for his 40th birthday. You know what I mean? And so like it's big shows, but for me, that shows it's the love of the game also. So I wanted to ask you this, you know, obviously, you know, your East Coast, you know, you know, the elements, everything, you know so much about that. When you, all right, so the message is, I think, probably the most important song in hip hop history because we went from disco to reality rap.
changed my
And
life.
and so so for those of us who were a little bit, you know, we were a little bit older than that and we weren't there when it dropped, we had a song where someone said talking about 600 million on a football team and her baby died just like a dope fiend. The story I tell is
Yeah,
so incomplete. 5 kids in the house, no food to eat. When we heard that, that was our message. And so much to this day, where my 12-year-old son right now, I said, I'm talking to Too Short to say, Too Short today. And he said, the ghetto? Like he's 12 years old in
so
Sherman Oaks, California, talking about he knows the ghetto. So, uh, was there a little bit of or a lot of influence on the ghetto from the message? Did you want to write a West Coast anthem like the message was for hip hop?
well, long before the ghetto came out, at the moment that I heard the message, that was the moment where I realized that I should. The message was telling such a great story about New York that I was like, shit, I should tell the story of Oakland. And in 1982 is when we started writing those reality rhymes about the streets of Oakland. And the ghetto doesn't come out till 1990. Life is Too Short is 1989. But I'm already 7, 8 years into developing my version of Melly Mel. I have like three influential hip hop superheroes that that I would patent. I think every rapper has at least two or three. This person influenced me, and nothing you could tell me would make me give a fuck that you say um, these are my guys. Like Snoop Dogg would always tell you he was highly influenced by Too Short and Slick Rick, and no doubt about it. And I was highly influenced by Melly Mel, Jimmy Spicer, Super Rhymes, and Spoonie G. And if you're a hip hop fan and you don't know those, it doesn't matter because when I was a kid, those motherfuckers matter. And I was like, I want to be a player like Spoonie G. I want to rap forever, nonstop, forever like Super Rhymes. And I want to fucking tell stories like Melly Mel. And you take a little bit of your heroes and you come up with your own shit because you're not allowed to bite. I can't be like Melly Mel, but I can be influenced by Melly Mel. And yeah, I think he does if he doesn't make the message, who knows what the fuck hip hop would have become if that song doesn't happen. That song actually sounds great right now. Like
Yeah.
it sounds when you play it right now, it sounds great. They've made it into R&B songs. They flipped the music. People have used the hook, repurposed the hook, but the original sounds amazing. So yeah, Melly Mel just as a whole, and not just that song. He kept doing a bunch of songs like that. White Lines, fucking New York, New York, like a bunch of them. And yeah, that was I mean, you listen to LL Cool J, Run DMC, everybody is influenced by the message.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to make that song that hits the heart, and you talk about social issues and conditions of the area where you from or the people that you love, you know, and that 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 thing Melly Mel started is still relevant in hip hop right now. That genre of you know, you call it reality rap. That's what you call it.
Yeah. I mean, that song sounds great, but this song right here, this is
So the
this.
ghetto is a Donny Hathaway song
Yep.
that was already a hit record before I touched it. And I think when you remake a hit record, you have to really be conscious that you can't be the one to fuck up a hit record. Like when we hear people like that's a terrible rendition of that song, you don't want to be that guy.
So you gave me a perfect segue into this question I've been wanting to ask for 30 years.
Hmm.
All right, for those not too aware, check this is Short Dogs in the House, 1990. Look at this cover, right?
You're gonna break out the Doggy Style album, Snoop's first album.
And then in 1993,
Yeah.
we you already said that he was influenced by you, but this was very Short Dog to Snoop Dogg with a very similar cover. I wanted to know number
We
one how
talked
you.
me and Snoop talked about this.
Yeah, but I've been wanting to ask that. I have a tie-in question that goes to one of your lines, which may or may not be related. So I'd love to number one hear how you felt when that happened. Was it just like, oh, he's paying respect, or did it go a little too far? And number two, when you said peep the game and don't be like Calvin, was that about the McDonald's kid or was that about Calvin Broadus?
Well, the Calvin line was definitely about McDonald's, 100%. And Snoop said something to me very early on after he made Doggy Style, and we were just like, like bring me into the know of why you say bitch, like what's that about? And he was like, man, we grew up on Too Short. Like he's like they threw me in the studio, put me in front of the mic, and turned the beat on. I just said bitch, he just did it. So if you look, most people, my rap name is Too Short, but throughout all my songs, friends, family, people have always called me Short Dog. Every rapper has to have like two or three or four different names they call themselves, and my main name outside of Too Short is Short Dog. So if you look at the comparisons, what he wanted to do on his first album, what he named himself, Snoop Dogg. He could have been like just Snoop or Snoopy or MC Snoop, but he picked Snoop Dogg, Short Dog. And like I said, you gotta have your people that you consider to be your influences. And I mean, Snoop, he's in middle school. He's listening to fucking Too Short, Richie Rich, 415, and he's really into this Bay Area music. And he's like, well, he's an MC. He wants to rap and be melodic, but he's like, I want to spit that player shit too. So he's getting that. And he said this, I'm listening to 415, Richie Rich, and I'm listening to Too Short, and I'm like, I'm gonna spit this player shit too. And he let his hair down and he goes into he's a gangster rapper. Raps about being a gangbanger, but he never stops rapping about pimping and playing and hoes and shit. That's the influence. You know what I mean?
With the funk too, because you were so instrumental with
And then the way he
the
uses
P funk.
his voice is more like a Slick Rick delivery. You know? but those are his influences. So yeah, I influenced um, out Outcast, UGK. Those are all kids who are looking at Too Short, going, man, I want that play. I want to do that player shit. And you don't have to get it from me. You can go ask him. Pimp C said the first time he saw my album cover on Born to Mac, he was in a record store and he said, "That's what I want to do for a living. I want to do that. You want to be in a fucking Cadillac with a bunch of gold chains on your neck talking shit." So I I'm
So it was
proud to say that
respect. Yeah.
I
You
influenced a
did.
genre of hip hop that you would call pimp rap, player rap. Nobody touched that shit before me. Ice-T was looking like a player and doing shit, but in our early days, Ice-T was leaning a lot towards either gang banging type shit, or he was like always like a little heavy metal with the
Yeah.
spikes and chains and shit. He was always rock and roll. But Too Short, from day one, I rapped about pimps and hoes, getting money and being a real player. From day one, I got it from Oakland, California.
So I've literally for 30 years been wondering that because I remember the McDonald's commercial and I'm like could be I'm like I'm not sure which Calvin it is. So
There's a
maybe
song that I'm expressing a little bit of frustration because it wasn't just Death Row, but it was a lot of rappers that were saying bitch, bitch, and it was starting to get to the point where I heard somebody say one day that I got it. Too Short got that from them, and they were arguing about where it came from. So, blow the whistle kind of addresses that. What's my favorite word? Bitch. That's like me like holding on to my ownership. But there's a song that not it's very far under the radar. It's called "Take My Bitch," and I'm talking the whole song is about people using the word bitch and saying it just like me because I didn't I didn't feel the need to trademark it, and I think that as much as yelling out "bitch" is pop culture, I think if I trademarked it and owned it, it would have never become pop culture. It would have been mine, and it would just been a Too Short thing. But
mm,
it's an everybody thing, and I can't think of many rappers, Ludacris, all this. It's a million of them that somewhere in your career you just gotta say it one time in your song. You just gotta say, "Bitch." It just feels good, sounds good. It's a wonderful accent to a punchline
it's like
or end of a verse or the beginning of a verse. It just flows.
with one eye anybody can use it, but when you got the three eyes and maybe a Y in there, that's the Too Short
Yeah.
trademark.
Five or more eyes.
Okay. Um, I I just got to ask this. They're all personal questions, but this one's especially personal because one of my favorite songs from that era was "Parlayin'."
That's
Um,
Goldie
yeah, Goldie and Ant
and
Banks.
Banks.
So because that was literally just one of my favorite songs, and I feel like Goldie as a lyricist, just as far as rhyming, like we do in this school, like we are very high level with our
He was ahead of
rhyming.
his time.
He was ahead of his time. So I know he had I think it was in the Land of Funk, but I wanted to ask just anything that you wanted to share about Parlayin, or also like how did Ant Banks like he wasn't there. I don't think he was there in the beginning. Was it around Shorty the Pimp? Did he come in and like tell me about how that grew with Ant Banks? And for our students in here that are working with multiple producers and bouncing around, do you think because the way you worked with Ant for so long, do you find that there's a continuity importance to working with someone like that?
Yeah, well, I come up in an era where you have a sound. You have to have a sound. And I was developing my sound, which is at the time was slow and funky, a lot of bass, a lot of shit talking. And I was making these beats myself, like Born to Mac, Freaky Tales, Cuss Words, I Ain't Tripping. Like a lot of those early beats, I was in the studio making those beats. And they're very like Mickey Mouse ABC beats, but they got, I grew up on the funk in the 1970s, so they're funk based. And then Ant Banks was sort of, a lot of people from the Bay Area, they come from the Too Short school of rap. Like that's what their early years, their influence on the music I was making and the shit I was talking. is why Bay Area rap is the way it is to this day. I mean, even E40 grew up on Too Short, he'll tell you. And Ant Banks was working for a label that was owned by a friend of mine. His name was Bruce. He's a street guy. All of our labels were funded by drug dealers. They would finance. Banks wouldn't give us any money. And, you know, personally, as the rappers, we didn't really have that kind of money to invest 50 grand in yourself or some shit. So we all, you know, I started that formula too in my area. I know Russell Simmons will tell you he probably borrowed some money from drug dealers, and Scarface will tell you that some early day drug money probably has something to do with his shit. And Luke Skywalker down in Miami will tell you the same thing, and you know, and so on and so on. But Ant Banks, the label that he was signed to, the owner, his name was Bruce, he got murdered. And then Ant Banks had an artist that he was working with at the time called Pooh Man. And they had a hot record in the Bay called Fucking with Dank. Dank is weed. Fucking with Dank, fucking with Dank. Hottest song of the summer, whatever year that was. And then they were just out there with nowhere to go. So literally, I saw Ant Banks one day at the cable company. And he's like, man, you know, what's up, man? We should work. I'm like, I'm having some issues right now in the studio. My engineer was in between albums, my engineer became fascinated with the MC Hammer movement. And I'm never gonna bite my tongue. I get back to the studio to work on the Shorty the Pimp album, and he's like, look, I'm into some whole new shit now. I'm trying to get into this pop world, and you see what MC Hammer's doing, 10 plus million albums sold. And he's like, we got to be like Hammer, man. You got to see. You can't just sit here and make this. I'm just telling you how you tell. We can't just sit here and make this nigga music, man. You got to make some music for white people, man. And I'm like, I don't really make music for any audience. I make music for one person, the Too Short fan. There's one fan that really loves Too Short. I make music for that one person. And he's like, you ain't gonna never be like Hammer. So he's like, I don't really want anybody saying the N word in my studio anymore. And he gave me these rules and regulations. And then on top of everything, I get back to work on the Short Dogs and House album, and he's got a puppy. We already made 3 albums. He's got a fucking puppy. The puppy's name is Short Dog. And I'm pissed. I called Ant Banks. I met Ant Banks. I called him. I was like, we got to get in the studio. This motherfucker's sabotaging my album. He was sitting there. He's mad at me. I'm like, well, all the shit you just told me, I'm not doing. I'm doing the shit my way. Fuck what you talking about. So he was doing this thing where he's engineering and he hits a, a reboot button or something. I'm not a fucking idiot. And he's like, oh man, and the computer crashed. So every time the computer crashed, we got to wait 15 minutes for all his shit to come back on. I called Ant Banks. I told him the whole story. He comes to the studio and he tells the engineer who owned the studio, he's like, just move to the side. If I have any questions, I'll ask you, and we're gonna do the shit ourselves. So he be like, how I work this, how I do that. And then he's sitting over there, instantly the computer crashes no more. And we sit there and make this album, Shorty the Pimp, in his face. After that, I went and bought my own studio. I was like, we ain't never going to this shit again. I built a dope ass, fly ass studio, and we were off to the races. Once Ed Banks joined the team, we got a guitar player named Shorty B, and we got a keyboard player named Pee Wee, who also used to play on all of Digital Underground stuff. So Digital Underground and Too Short, we were always really close in the studio. We weren't working together, but we were like funk minded. We come from George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. That's who we all want to be like. And Ant Banks saved the day on Shorty Pimp album. And then we started making all the rest of the albums with Ant Banks. We made the Goldie album. We started doing other artists. And if you listen to everything I made after that, Shorty the Pimp, it starts to get a little more melodic. There's more music. It seems to be a little more structured. The guitars and the keyboards and the live instrumentation is all like, that's Ant Banks. And we're both in there arguing and shit about what should and what shouldn't be. But at the same time, it's that Ant Banks touch, that bass, that's starting to be my signature sound. He took what I was already doing and made it better. He
Mhm.
made it bigger. He made it EQ'd it better. He layered it better, and it was just starting to be like really a sound, our signature sound. So if you listen to Goldie's album, I'm taking a guy who's way more lyrical than me. He's influenced by my pimp rhymes, but he's his own guy as a delivery. He's not like anybody else. He's rapping double time fast. He's getting so many fucking words. He would be in the studio like my shit. I record my shit fairly easy. He would be in there like it was a scientist. Like he had to get that shit right, and he'd be in there like trying to fill all those fucking words in there. And I'm like, I was with all the people back then. I'm like that old fast ass rapping. You're like I'm a big Twister fan, but in the early days, I'm like this is fast ass rapping shit. This fast shit. So I rap really slow, and you can understand every word. But when you hear Goldie rapping to that formula, those beats, that album is dope.
Gary
I
Payton
don't
got jacked for his Lex, man.
if you just put on some headphones and let that whole album play, Goldie and the Land of Funk, Jive Records didn't want to promote him because, labels, I don't care what you say, labels would do some artist development, but labels love a layup. They don't like hard work. They don't like guesswork. And they're like, they just think certain people aren't, they didn't think Lil Jon was a star. They discounted him and say he's a producer and anything he does will only be famous in the Southeast region. East Coast would never like it. West Coast would never like Lil Jon. That's what they said. So Goldie was one of those artists who come to a label. We all know he's dope, and they go, "We just don't get it. We don't have a budget for him and all that shit." And he just didn't get a fair shake. But he could have been like my guy who we moved in through the future, spitting pimp rhymes like Sugar Free and DJ Quick.
I was gonna say he could have been your AZ to Nas. Like you guys could have
Yeah.
like done that together. Because I mean, he was rhyming 5, 6 syllables like back then, like on the West Coast, and I just don't think West Coast ears were that tuned in for it. I'm just gonna ask maybe like one or two more questions, and if anyone else has any questions or if you want to, kick some game for us, that'd be amazing. Yeah, as far as Shorty the Pimp goes, man, I did recognize like kind of the live instrumentation coming in, and to me, like I just put it together. Like when you were talking about super rhymes, and you said you wanted to like just rhyme nonstop, like between that and between Ant Banks, um, is that how like No Love? Because to me, No Love from Oakland is like literally either my favorite or my top like 3 or 4 of your songs. And just so you guys know, he rhymes for 7.5 minutes straight, no hook, no bridge. He rhymes for set, and it doesn't get boring because the beat, his cadence, his pocket, it just I can't believe I don't get bored of it. And I
We
listen
do
to
that
it
on a
all
lot
the
of songs.
time.
That's on Freaky Tales. Dope Fiend Beat is sort of the same way. In the Trunk is the same way.
Yeah,
And
no
I had
hook.
this thing. This thing was called Don't Stop Rapping. So Don't Stop Rapping it doesn't mean I'm gonna rap until I'm 60 years old. It just meant if you give me the mic and I start rapping, I'm not gonna stop till you fucking snatch the mic out of my hand. And that's just how it was back then. You're like, give me the fucking mic and watch this shit. And you had to be in my mind, I had to be like, if I come to a party, you remember that shit back in the day? Like give me the mic at the party and can you make the crowd go crazy? That was like I do concerts right now, and every concert I do, I am standing on that foundation of give me the fucking mic and watch me rock this shit. I'm like, you don't even got to put on a song. I don't even need music. If you give me that fucking mic, that crowd's gonna have a great time. If you put on a beat, it's gonna be even greater. It don't even fucking matter. If you let me touch that mic, watch what happens. And DJs back then would be like, that was how I got on a part of how I got on too. I'm like, I pull up to a party, I'm like, let me get the mic. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, let me rap on the mic, put on the instrumental. He's like, who are you? I'm like, bro, give me the mic and watch this shit. And I convinced the DJ, I'm just like, watch. If I fuck it up, I'll just watch. And I started rocking the crowd, and I just started having it to where if I wasn't DJing myself, other DJs be like, oh yeah, we got Too Short in the house. And I just go over there and rock the fucking mic. And the first time I ever did a concert in front of a big crowd, I didn't even have anything in the store. I had no music released. And I get on stage and I start rapping, and every person in the crowd is rapping every word with me just from street tapes.
Definition of an MC. You know me. I got more questions, but I'm gonna have to. I gotta see if anyone else has any questions. Hopefully, someone's gonna ask how you got the blow the whistle beat because I was gonna ask that. But let me open it up to anyone who's got any questions for the legend Too Short. We got a few. Just throw your hand up, and I'll call on you. And we'll see.
I
How
gotta
many... Go ahead, bro.
I gotta do one thing.
You
I gotta show you something before you open it up.
you got it.
I gotta show you something. It's gonna take me. It's gonna take. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It's gonna take me like 60 seconds.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So we got about 5 or 6 questions so far. Yeah, if you don't, I'll ask.
Amazing
It's a very
job, Professor Walker. Amazing job, bro.
appreciate you. If you don't ask, it's a really interesting story of how he got that blow the whistle.
Sorry about that, man. But I figured you guys, before you get into it, I want to show you this shit.
This is the shit we like.
This says short shit. And when you open up the box, this is Too Short rhymes. These are all rhymes from years
Ooh.
and years and years and years of just rhymes. And I got boxes of this shit. Like, and you know, I just said that because so many rappers right now just go in the booth and say, plug me in. And then they start going line for line, punch me in, punch me in. That's fucking 30 years worth of written raps.
Well, you said you were gonna put your hand in the middle, pull one out, and just read. Didn't you say you wanted to just grab one in the middle and pull it out and just like let's just see what's on this page in the middle here.
That is not good.
It could be recorded. It could not be.
No, that's not good. Let me see. I got one. I just dropped one on the floor. Let's go get the one that fell on the floor.
Let's see.
Let's see what failed. It might be.
Well, watch. It's like I'm a player or something. Classic. Only at Pendulum Mink. All right. If anybody has any questions, now's the time to put your hand up.
Oh shit!
What you got?
Here's one fell on the floor. This is some bullshit, but hey, you want to hear what it says?
Yeah, give us like a quatrain. Give us like
I
4.
can't even tell you what song this is on, but it says instantly. You finna see how pimpishly I get these hoes in the street. These niggas killing me. You ain't feeling me? The bitch burnt you. Got you smoking penicillin weed. You could dip your dick in some Hennessy. You'd be a goddamn fool if you listen to me. I tell you shit that you can't believe. I got some badass bitches and some stankin' freaks. Macking in my whack when I stack them in the back. I don't get them bitches slack. Cause if she in my Cadillac, she be giving up the crack. Trying to get a nigga scratch. When she suck a million dicks, the bitch will get a platinum plaque. I said, bitch, that's what I said. When I grabbed her ponytail, she was giving me head. I said, bitch, you know what's up. I put my dick in my drawers and zip my jeans up. That's just, I don't even know what song that was.
Yo, you started off with a crazy you had like a 3-4 syllable count going at the beginning, which all of us rap nerds here, we were like, oh, we had like the penicillin, like we were like, yeah. So anyway, so that was fun. Thanks for going through that. Chris Kemp, what you got for Too Short?
Y'all, I just want to say appreciate you being here. It's such an honor. I'm one of the few here from the West Coast. I grew up in Seattle, so you and 40 were like the rap guys out here. I was so young in the 90s, I didn't know your name, but I knew the voice. By the time I knew your name, the first song that changed my life was Pimp Shit with Cocaine.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
That's one of the ones. You know, he spent a lot of time in Seattle.
Yeah, already. And that's when I decided, I was like, so all my first raps, being a young teenager, sound just like that. It's probably terrible, but it is what it is. I just wanted to say you spoke a little bit about what gives you motivation to keep going as a rapper. Do you still feel motivation to push your pen? Are you so comfortable in what you've built that you kind of just do your thing and keep it moving?
Meaning, you said push the pen,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
writing raps.
Yeah, still get. Do you ever feel like the need to still prove yourself as a rapper, or you feel like you've already done that with you such a legacy artist?
I have about 50 unreleased songs that when I play them for people, they get mad at me for not putting the shit out. And I own, just recently, I had 3 studios and I just narrowed it down to, I built a brand new studio, a real nice studio. And I'm in that motherfucker every week rapping, man. I, if I lied to myself and said I quit, I'd probably make another song next week. I really think hip hop is equivalent to fucking drugs, man. This shit is addictive, and a lot of us rappers, whether we make it or not, we just keep rapping. Like it's just something that we do. I don't think that every dope MC is measured by the dopeness is not measured by how many records you sold or how big your career is. The dopeness is measured by how good is the music. And I think that's the thing that we're losing right now is everybody said the prize is in who got the most money and who got the biggest hits, but it's still a value in the music, man. A lot of the biggest hits is like fucking popping popcorn or some shit, man. This shit is just it's just like that. It's just a hit, but good music, man. That shit sounds good forever. So I think that if we made music, if us artists made music and we thought about like not trying to make hits and it's just like I just want to make music that sounds good to me, the people I play it for, the people around me like it, and then it's good music. I like it. I feel good about what I just made. I think that's enough. And I think that resonates with the fans when people catch on to your shit and they go, oh, I like dude. You've been doing it for 5 years, and now they, like I got up on Kendrick Lamar late. I got up on Drake late. I got up on fucking Nipsey Hussle late. But by the time I got up on him, I went back and listened to the 3 years I missed and was like, oh shit, dude is dope. And that's just, I think everybody has that opportunity to make good music, and then when they come to check for you, they're like, oh, dude, shit sound good. It's a lot of artists, man, that I hear one song from. I'm like, that song is dope. Who is that? And then I start fucking going to YouTube or Spotify or something and looking up. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker got 2 albums, and I just get into it. So I can't stop. I'm addicted. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm hooked.
Man, thank you so much for that answer. Once again, thank you for being here, and thank you for being an example and showing rappers that it's possible to age gracefully in this game.
Don't stop rapping.
Big Mike.
Yo, thank you for still rapping. Thank you for starting to rap. Thank you for being from Oakland. Cause I'm a hip hop therapist by day, but BRL, what I worked for, started in Oakland. So
Hey.
the fact that there's a hip hop therapist running this class, and I'm talking to the original dog, and I'm from Boston. We say dog like every other word. So the fact that you the dog, the short dog, I'm talking the short dog is fucking wild. But thank you for existing. Thank you for doing everything that you're doing. My question is I run the dojo where we practice freestyling and writing, and I treat it like the dojo because I think hip hop is like martial arts. Like I'm the same drug you on. I've been addicted since 2000 and probably before that, and I'm not going to rehab. I'm not kicking it. I need stronger doses. Like that's why I'm in this school. That's why I think you deserve every flower that you get. But my question is, a lot of times with reality rap, you're not really paying attention to techniques because it's about getting the story out. But even in the verse that you just took out and just read, you was doing 3 syllable multis that were going like you were already doing techniques. Were you thinking about these techniques while you were doing them, or was it just something that was happening naturally?
So a young MC, one of my young homeboys, he passed away now. His name was Rappin' Ron. And he was in a group called Rappin' Ron and Diddley Dog, the Bad Influence. And I was rapping, and I was purposely trying to keep my shit basic because I was trying to be in this lane where I'm not trying to compete with the LL Cool J's with the big words and the the slick phrases and shit. I was just keeping it straight punchlines. And Rapper Ron, he said, "Man, I want to show you something," and he showed me. He said, "You see how you just rap that line?" And it was just like me hooking up like 3 or 4 words that rhyme in a row at the end of the shit. He was like, "Why you don't do that more often?" And I was like, "I don't know, shit. I ain't let a trip." He said, "Bro, if you did that a little more often, your shit would be so much better." And that probably was like 1994, 94, somewhere in there. And I just started being more conscious about being a little bit lyrical in the shit, but then also being conscious as to not attempt to be too lyrical, because then I would be out of what I think people loved about Too Short, was just some basic ass beats with some basic ass talking shit. I make a beat, I literally use on purpose. I use one finger to make it on the drum machine, one finger on the keyboard, and everything I do is one finger because I'm like, we used to call it that one finger funk. And it was like, you can do all this shit, but when you just do this shit, they get it. And I was that one finger funk took me platinum time and time and time again. So uh conscious of lyrics, but also shy away from being too lyrical on purpose. And people go, that nigga can't rap, he can't rap. But I'm like, on purpose, so there's a genius to simplicity. If you don't have to do it all the way across the board. You could be the most lyrical motherfucker, but then the beat might just be a drum boom. Like this, them drums go. Sometimes you make a beat and you like, I can't even put music to these drums because they so fucking dope. And then you just start rapping, and that's the fucking song. Some people do songs with no drums, and the shit just go. Like when Dre 3000 come on the beginning of the Players Anthem. They said, I heard DJ Paul tell the story. He said Dre didn't want to rap to the drums. He's like, take the drums out of my part. That's why the song started the way it started, with so long with no drums. And then Pimp C come in and the beat drop. And it was like, that was his fucking genius. If he doesn't do that, I don't think we love that song as much as we do. And you just got to know when to dial it down and when to dial it up.
Fire. Well, if you need a place to come dial it up, Pendulum Inc. is a place where they teach new techniques. There's a whole book of them, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna get you hip to all that. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing forever.
For sure.
Artwork on the way ASAP.
Thank you, Big Mike. We just have four. We got four hands up, short. So let's see. We got Scribe the Legend. Go ahead, bro.
Salute, Professor Too Short. Oh my God, it's crazy.
What up?
Huge soundtrack to my life and my homies. So this is surreal. I got a question for you about moving to the club era and that transition. What are some jewels that you learned in that process in switching, what format you were going to?
Well, that was really, to me, that was all about the Little John production. I noticed that producers who are also DJs tend to know what moves the crowd. And he was really a producer. So there's a big difference to me between producers and beat makers. You could be a really dope beat maker and not know how to produce a song. And that means I'm in the studio with you. You make beats. And we're in there. You put the beat, pull the beat up. I like it. We track it out. We started working to it. And you're not really saying shit. I'm just coming up with the hook and I'm doing the shit. And you made the beat. It's cool. You even gonna get a producer credit. But a producer who makes beats, as soon as the beat comes up and you coming up with ideas, he's coming up with ideas. You doing shit, he's saying, no, don't do it like that. Say that part like that. This subject ain't even good for this beat. You should rap about this. And the producer talks you through the whole song and makes it better. And then when you turn your back, he does something even better to the shit. You're like, ooh, I like that part. And that's a Little John kind of guy in the studio. He's constantly like, you're good, but he's constantly making it better. So when you get those kind of people, if you notice collab songs, we look at somebody's new album, the first thing you want to go to is the collab. Because when you collab, if you put me in the studio with Jay-Z, I'm not going to out-rap Jay-Z, but I'm going to fucking rap my best. And I have to. You got no fucking choice. I did 3 songs with Biggie, That's stress. If Biggie lays his verse before you, that is fucking stress. You're like, what the fuck am I gonna do? He just murdered the track. I got no room to do anything. And then that makes you be your best. You don't, I don't think most of us crumble in that scenario. It brings out your best. If you play sports and your rival is playing against you, you probably trying to give him your best game. So that's just what it is. That's what it's like when you work with a producer. So I think me turning that corner and making club songs was Little John producing me. It wasn't me saying, "Hey man, I want to get in the club now, Little John." That was him saying, "That shit you do, that shit could go in the club." And we made a song called "Couldn't Be a Better Player," and that shit murdered the Atlanta clubs and beyond. And it just that was the song that made me think I could make club songs. And since then, I just never looked back. I just added it to what I already was doing. I didn't stop doing what I was doing before and then start trying to be in the club all the time. I would just hit Little John every album I made and say, "Man, slide me a couple of club bangers, man, slide me something." And he just kept going and kept going. I really helped Little John at an early stage in his career. And for the to return the favor, he said, "Whenever you need it, whatever you need, I got beats, whatever you need." And my whole career to this day, I have an album right now with all Little John beats. That's fucking amazing. That should be coming out pretty soon. But that relationship is still going, and that thing he taught me about how to make a club song, I'm still using it.
That's dope, man. Thank you so much. Be sure to follow Pendulum Inc. so you can see some of these upcomers. Maybe they can open for you someday.
Okay,
Appreciate
I
you.
will.
I did open for you one day, by the way, at the party. I did a little. I did a too short poem filled with all your song titles. But for at that moment, you went upstairs to get some white wine or something. I'm like, where'd he go? But hey, we'll
Man,
get back to that another time.
we need the YouTube clip or something. We need to run it back and do it at another show.
Yeah. All right, Trace. What's up, Trace?
What's up? So I guess my question actually piggybacks off of where the last one ended. With all of the people that you've worked with over the years, do you have a favorite collab? And or is there anybody you haven't worked with yet that you want to?
Well, I really like working in the studio with people who um, are very vocal about the song we're working on. I like to argue in the studio about whose idea is the best. And then if you make a good point, then you win the argument and we make the song go in that direction. If you work with me and you're quiet, I will run the whole session. I'll make everything my way. And I wouldn't actually, we don't, it's like, ain't no training wheels in the studio. It's like once you in there, they throwing you in the fucking, the lion pit or whatever the fuck. And it's just like sink or swim, motherfucker. So I really like working with bullies in the studio. Scarface is a bully. Pimp C was a bully. Fucking Lil Jon's a bully. Ann Banks is a bully. And then these motherfuckers, E40's a bully. And they get you in there. And if you don't fucking speak up or if you don't come up with a good idea, then the song is going to be what they want it to be. And I just really like that environment because we're rappers, man. We always think we know the fucking most shit. We know the best shit. And it should be that. And we talk shit. If you can't talk that shit, then I'm just gonna dance circles around you in the studio. Whether you're better than me at anything or not, I'm still gonna dominate the session because you're not being aggressive and you're not fucking like telling me what the fuck you want to do with the song. So
Yeah.
my favorite collabs are the guys who love to argue in the studio because I'm fucking like that shit is whack, and they're like that shit is dope, and we just gotta argue it out, and vice versa. I do shit all the time. They're like, "Short, I know you're the OG, bro, but that ain't it, man. That ain't it." And I'm like, "Well, what's it? Then tell me what it is." And you gotta say it. So that is the best shit you could ever do in the studio is work with somebody that is honest. Just tell me the truth, man.
Yeah.
Don't ever tell me I'm dope and be then go tell somebody else that shit he just did is whack. Tell me this shit is whack. I appreciate that more than anything. Fuck, I really appreciate somebody. If you could be a stranger in this session and go, I don't like it. And I'm like, why? And like this is just and it makes sense. If you're really honest about your opinion, it makes sense because you're speaking the fucking truth. So that's my
Yeah.
thing. My favorite collabs are probably the people I named, but E40 would be at the top of the list.
Yeah. I got both the history albums. That's my shit.
Yeah. The
And then
History Channel.
Is there anybody though that you haven't worked with yet? Do you want to?
I always wanted to do a song with on a Timberland beat with Missy Elliott. I wanted to really get down because when we were in our prime, she talked a lot of shit. I got to work with Little Kim, Foxy Brown, and a lot of people that talk that shit too. But I never got Missy Elliott. I wanted to really get in there when she was talking that shit and I was talking that shit and talk that shit together, whether it was on the same side or against each other. I just wanted to get down.
Yeah.
Timberland beat.
That would have been fire. Missy's my favorite out of all the females. That's what's up.
Thank you, Trace.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have 3 more questions, and then we'll let my guy do what he's gonna go pull out his rhymes. Professor Life, what's up, bro?
My fault. What's up? What's up? Peace, Professor Short. How you
All
doing?
right, what up?
Yo, real quick. You just inspired me to go dig in the archives, bro. I had to pull out all of these. I've been
right.
I've been writing in my phone for about 15 years, but this is all before that. This is all pre-writing in my phone stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been writing in the iPad for about the past 10 to 15, and I refuse to throw these rhymes away though.
Never, ever, for sure. Appreciate you. So, me being from the East Coast, you know what I'm saying? I definitely went to your music when I did, you know what I'm saying? Like identifying you as being like, pimp shit, West Coast shit, but basically, what I'm seeing now in music nowadays is like a lot of people kind of melding sounds together and everything kind of has like sort of a universal feel, which could be a good or a bad thing. So I wanted to get your take on that. Like, how you feel about like regional music versus people kind of sounding the same nowadays.
I just think that our youngsters came up with different rules, and the rules that went out the window were, no biting, no trying to look like somebody or be similar to them on stage. That shit kind of went out the window, and they just started going with what they thought would win, which is a lot of, like, to us it just looks like a lot of similarities. But I think they're just really getting in where they fit in their era, and I don't know, man. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at, but I just think that we are too judgmental on our era. Because I think when you're 16 and like 25, whatever music you loved at them years, you always gonna think that's the greatest shit ever. And then that goes for all of us, from teenagers to young men and young women. That's what we love. And then you get older and you pick and choose what you like, but you like, but that other shit, that's the shit, man. That Jay-Z, that Biggie, whatever your era was, nothing is ever gonna beat that. And we don't, in hip hop, we don't want to acknowledge that with each other. That I was just talking to my little homie the other day, and he was asking me, he's a rapper, he was asking me about all this shit that came before his time. And he's like, I just didn't get to hear it. He was asking about like Jay-Z. He said, man, I really didn't get Jay-Z. I got out of high school in the early 2005. I didn't know that shit. I was a kid. So he's trying to rediscover hip hop from his parents' era just to know it. And what he's naming, like to them, the shit it started with Lil Wayne. That's the start. So I just think that we're all in our little bubbles or whatever. And I think that Atlanta getting so hot and staying so hot has seeped into everybody. Everybody wants that, that bounce. Atlanta didn't invent the bounce, but they perfected it. New Orleans and Memphis had that thing going before Atlanta. Atlanta was like more like they was on that fast shit like Florida. And then here come the crunk movement, and they just been bouncing ever since. T.I. and them came out, Gucci Mane came out, Jeezy came out, and they gave birth to the new Atlanta. It was another Atlanta before them dudes came out. And now I'm in the studio right now doing shit with Lil Jon. Some of that shit sound like some Atlanta shit. He's from Atlanta. A lot of shit coming out of the West Coast got that vibe. But then you come to the West Coast, up in the Bay, we was doing, we evolved from our early days. The next phase came out was like the hyphy movement. And that shit was like, it was all about 98 beats per minute, 100 beats per minute, 107. It's kind of like, it's funky. It's not nightclub dance music, but fuck, when it comes on, it makes you want to dance. And then we get this hyphy shit. And if you listen to the Kendrick Lamar album that just did so damn good, he's on that tempo. That tempo is like 99, 100, 101, 102. That tempo is just feel good. I have a thing where it kind of sounds like West Coast, but then I can go back and show you a bunch of artists, Migos and motherfuckers from all over the place, rapping at that tempo. Jay-Z, everybody, we all do it. That 100 beats, and it's just it's format friendly. So if the Atlanta bounce, that whatever you want to call it, trap, it's friendly to the fan base. That 100 beats per minute is friendly. I think it's just all meshing. The boom bap always gonna sound good. If you put a little boom bap on something right now, it still goes. It's still the shit. So now that we're here in the era of the rules have been rewritten, and nobody knows, you can tell a youngster right now, you a biter. He's gonna like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? And we're just in a different era now. So if I'm sitting in the studio and I'm like, ooh, that shit, I just made a song with DJ Premier. Boom bap all day. Benny the Butcher. Me and Benny on a Premier beat. But it ain't the rules now. You play it, you can't be like, oh, Too Short trying to sound like a New York nigga. You can't say it now because the game changed. So I think that's where we at now. The borderlines of the regional sounds have kind of faded a little bit, and it's okay for, I don't even know what you call the Pop Smoke sound, but that shit is dope. That's not boom bap, but it's New York. You know what I mean? But then how many motherfuckers was trying to sound like Pop Smoke after he came out? A lot. So the lines are crossed, man. Detroit rappers sound like Bay Area rappers. I don't know. You know what I mean? It ain't that particular no more.
I hear you. I mean, I know for me that, you know what I'm saying, again, me going to Too Short for that West Coast shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like, I would rather identify, like, okay, I got an artist over here for this. I got an artist over here for that. I like that diversity. You know what I'm saying? So call it old school, whatever you want. But, you know what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate what you brought to the game. You know, long live, for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Thank you, Life. I love that you said Premier because I've been holding on to this. This is in the trunk with a remix by DJ Premier.
Exactly.
Obviously the first time you guys work together, and look at this, 2026 coming again. So this is a gem, man.
I don't know how he got to this, but he was like, I want to flip that fucking song.
Crazy.
And he wanted New York to like those lyrics because it wasn't made for New York. He was like, let me have those lyrics in the trunk. That shit sound good. I listen to that every now and then. It sounds good.
Yeah. Anyway, that's so I just had that laying around, so I'm like, ooh, coming full circle here. We got two hands up left. My guy, CY. I'm sure Too Short's in one of those covers back there. What's up, CY?
Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? Peace. How y'all doing? And peace, Short Dog. Listen, man. Basically, I just wanted to say some things. Basically, I just wanted to pay homage to you, man. And it's an honor to be able to share this virtual space with a legend such as yourself, brother. I've been listening to you for a very long time. I mean, I got your album, "Life Is Too Short," as a Christmas gift, right? I was spending a Christmas down south in Georgia. I'm from Connecticut. So I hope you do come back to Connecticut one day. But anyway, as a kid, I was spending Christmas down south, and we didn't have much. So if you got a couple presents under the tree, man, that was a good thing. But one of those presents was a gift wrap cassette, "Life Is Too Short," and we was bumping that all week. The next door neighbor's house, playing it in the box and all that. Down south got a different groove, so they was definitely on you, and I was hooked ever since, man. But I just wanted to pay respects to you. And hearing you speak about your career and reflect on that, it's wild, because everything that you're saying, I had already thought all of that. So it's so cool to hear. And when you listen to your music, you always know, as soon as you hear that voice, it's Short. He was always extremely authentic. Didn't change your style, no matter what track you on, who track you on with. It's still Short, and that's the shit we love, man. So I just wanted to thank you for your impact and your imprint on this thing we all love called hip hop, brother.
So that was a beautiful soliloquy there, buddy, but I don't see Too Short in the room right now. I think something happened. You know, I saw him go, like I saw him, you know, I saw that he reached down the, you know, probably had a call, was probably trying to stop something, and then right at that moment, I think he dropped out. So I know, okay, here we go. He's coming back. Do your best to recap that, brother. Here he comes, CY.
You on there?
He's coming back. Short dog.
Yep, that was the syndrome of the dead battery.
All
I've been
all
working.
good. I'm gonna have CY repeat that word for word. He just kicked this poem for you. No, I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead, CY. Go.
No, but I was just paying respects, man, and giving homage to everything that you did for the game that we all know and love. I don't know where you dropped off at, but I said my first album was Life Is Too Short. It was a cassette tape that I got when I spent the Christmas down in Georgia. I'm from Connecticut, so we love you up here too, and you need to come back. But it was the time I was spending the Christmas down in Georgia with family,
Okay.
and my aunt gave me a gift of your tape, so it was gift wrapped under the tree, and we was banging that the whole time down there, man, and I never turned back. So I just wanted to say peace and thank you for your contributions, your impact, and your imprint on this game we love called hip hop.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, CY. The last hand I see up is
I
Big
think my
Cutie.
battery's too dead to get my camera on. I can't get the camera on anymore. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Yeah, we hear you. Last hand we got up is Big Cutie, Sonny B. A little female energy in here.
Hello, Professor.
What's happening?
So my entrance into your music was my mama and my aunties would never let your music play at the family functions. So I had to sneak and listen to your music, or the people around me. A lot of people around me knew about your music. So that is my entrance into your music, first of all.
Okay.
But my question is, did you say that you were a DJ? Did I get that correctly? Did you say you were a DJ?
I was a DJ up until 1985. I started making a lot of money selling independent records, and I was at first I used to make beats, I used to DJ, and I rap. I can't draw and I can't dance
Oh,
good enough to be a break dancer or a graffiti artist. So I did all I could do, and I think they say hip hop has 4 elements. I think the producer didn't get on fast enough, but I think hip hop really has 5 elements, and the beat maker is the 5th. But I was doing all of that, and then I started making a lot of money, and I stopped DJing, and I started making a lot of money, and I stopped making beats. I started hiring people, and I don't regret not making beats, but I do regret stopping uh, DJing. I really love the way the DJ evolved and just became the DJ was like always they kept always trying to kick the DJ out the car. And I remember the mixtape DJs took a stand and said, "Motherfucker, labels, we breaking your fucking records. Y'all better start showing us love."
right,
And
right.
over and over again, they keep putting the rapper on the pedestal, but the DJ is the guy. And then the producers start bullying their way up in the limelight. And I feel like, who would I be if I just kept making beats and kept DJing? It would be a whole different Too Short. I'm happy where I'm at, but I regret quitting DJing. I might start again too.
Thank you for that. But my question is, you also said that you could rock a crowd. My question was, when was the first time you rocked the crowd as a DJ?
Well, I used to do something that nobody would do, and I would DJ the most gangster, ghetto house parties that every other DJ would be scared to go to these places. And I was the guy that would pull up with my shit. I only had one bad incident. A fight broke out one night, and when the fight ended, one of my speakers was missing. And I'm like, nigga, you stole a speaker during the fight, but I was that guy. Like, I was accepted in those circles, And I was the guy you would call if you was a real motherfucking gangster and you really had a motherfucking house party that really was way the fuck up in some apartment somewhere that niggas was scared to come to. I DJ that shit. And
Wow.
that was my thing throughout high school and shortly after high school, and then I just quit.
So this is in high school when you would do that?
Yeah, that was my job, my weekend job. I would get paid.
Wow.
I get paid anywhere from $50 to $100 a party. You could negotiate 75, give me 80, whatever. That was just in the early 80s. That was my hustle. And I had all the equipment. I had between my own hustle, buying shit, I would trade shit. I'd trade you a bicycle for a fucking cassette tape, cassette player, whatever the fuck, like anything. I'd hit my parents up, buy me this mixer, buy me this, whoever the fuck, any kind of way. And I had what you were supposed to have, 2 turntables and a mixer and a microphone and an effects machine. And then I had speakers and I had amps. And it was you had to have that shit. So I was one of those DJs, and I got caught up in the rappers, the star, and I'm the rapper, and I just got caught up in that shit and never went back to my roots.
What's stopping you?
Well, I hate to say it, but I get paid a lot of money right now to DJ. And what I usually do is I bring my DJ out and I make my DJ and I just talk shit. But I'm really I'm really trying to get into the spirit of flying on my own and doing it again. I'm there. I actually have the equipment set up at the house. I practice a little bit.
That's dope.
I gotta get a rhythm going of the songs and the style I want to bring that rocks the crowd. I have an idea. I don't want to tell you what it is, but I have an idea that I'm gonna make. If you hire Too Short as a DJ, I'm gonna take you on a fun journey that has stuff to do with me, hip hop, music in general. It's gonna be a journey and not just play songs and make you dance. I wanna
That's dope.
give you an experience, almost like a concert.
That's dope. I love that. Thank you for that. Don't you host a radio show or something? I've heard you on radio.
I'm on the radio once a week on LL Cool J station.
That's what I thought.
Channel 43, Sirius XM, every Monday. They play it throughout the week. The show is called Don't Stop Rapping, and I talk about hip hop. It's like educational.
Yeah. I was listening. Thank you. That's dope. You're dope. Thank you for being here. You're dope. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you guys for having me, for real.
Thank you, Sonny B. Yeah. Rock the bells for sure. Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yo, short. Sorry,
Yep.
I live near a train now. Yo, short. Could you stay just a little longer, just so we can get some drops, and then we'll let you go, just to do some drops really quick.
Yep, I got a big production going on over here that I'm missing out on.
Oh,
okay.
So I'm moving right now, and they're in there setting up all this shit, and I really need to be in there.
Okay. We'll look. I'll reach out to you to make it happen later.
If you hit me like Friday or something, Friday afternoon, I'll run you a bunch of drops.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
We can do it for a while. You get a whole list. We knock them out.
So it's only like 3 minutes, but we got you. Handle your move.
Right.
Listen, long live lyricism. If your camera's on, throw your L's up for Professor.
Long live.
Much love. Everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.
Long live.